Good morning, and welcome to the December 2020 School of Nursing Convocation Ceremony. I'm Alexa Steifbergen, Dean of the School of Nursing, and I will be presiding over our virtual convocation today with lots of backup support from faculty and staff. Last spring, our first virtual convocation, I taped my remarks in a studio with a teleprompter and a beautiful backdrop, but no audience. In fact, all our ceremony and speeches were taped in advance, which is always a little more predictable. However, the graduates have told us that they would like to have a ceremony that's more interactive, more personalized, and that is what we will try to do today. And a special thanks to Mrs. Rita Ruiz and other staff for helping make this possible. Graduates, you may recognize that I'm not speaking to you from a UT studio, but rather live this morning from my offices in your School of Nursing at 1710 Red River. And graduates, you are at home for this convocation. And while this isn't the same as all of us being together in the Bass Concert Hall, I have realized that the silver lining to these virtual ceremonies is that family members and friends from across the nation and even the world can participate with us fully on YouTube. As a graduating class, you've experienced radical changes that you have dealt with grace and flexibility to meet the course and program objectives. I remember that in one of my first town hall meetings with students last spring, a time when emotions and fears were very high, one of you sent me a message in the chat asking, "Can you guarantee I will graduate in December?" Well, you might also remember that my answer was no, I never guarantee graduations. But I hope that what you also remember is that I did guarantee you that we would do everything we could to facilitate your progress while keeping you safe. And we did do that. And today, each and every one of you deserve a very special congratulations for meeting your important graduation goal in the midst of especially challenging circumstances. On behalf of the faculty and other administrators of the University of Texas at Austin School of Nursing, I am proud to recognize 81 very special graduates. Among the graduates, we will recognize 2 students who will receive the highest academic degree in nursing, the Doctor of Philosophy, or PhD. UT Austin had one of the earliest PhD programs in nursing in the nation, and we have a strong history of graduating leaders in research, education, and national service. We also recognize 19 students who will receive the Master's of Science in Nursing degree and 60 students who will receive the Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree, the entry to professional nursing. Although our faculty cannot be with you in person today, I know they join me in congratulating you on your accomplishments. Our faculty includes experienced, renowned teachers, clinicians, and researchers who strongly believe that the nursing profession is vital to the public good. Throughout their teaching at all levels of our curriculum, the faculty are committed to preparing students to address the many significant healthcare challenges of the 21st century, including, of course, the global pandemic caused by the COVID-19 virus that we face today. Our faculty embody the core purpose of the University of Texas at Austin, which is to transform students' lives for the benefit of society. And that has never been more evident than in this moment when we face a massive public health crisis and nursing is on the front lines serving the public. I am confident that most of you have heard it said, "What starts here changes the world." Well, I would venture to add, what starts here heals the world. And this isn't because we prepare our students with all of the specific technical and clinical skills and knowledge that they will need in the professional practice of nursing, although we most certainly do. It isn't because we provide them the necessary foundation upon which they can build successful and rewarding careers in clinical settings or in research or academia, although we do that as well. We say what starts here heals the world because in the great tradition of the University of Texas at Austin, We prepare our students to be continual learners and courageous leaders whose care for individuals and families in our community combines the latest in the art and science of nursing. To our graduates today, I say you are entering the profession of nursing or advancing your career at a very special time. Our nation has been rocked by the impact of a virus that we have never encountered. We have seen more than 270,000 Americans die of all ages and all backgrounds, 22,000 of them right here in Texas. We have seen and will continue to see economic challenges from the important efforts to contain the spread of the virus. And we have seen heroes, nurses who are courageously answering the call and making a difference in this pandemic. The need for and value of nurses, especially the well-educated Longhorn nurse leaders graduating today, has never been greater. In just a few days, you, as nurses, will be part of another historic effort, which is to help vaccinate our population and bring a beginning to the end of this pandemic that has caused so much loss and pain. Frankly, there have been many times during the last 9 months when I've watched the nightly news or videos online with tears in my eyes and pride and admiration in my heart as I saw nurses on the front lines, caring for patients, even knowing the risks to their own health. Over and over, I saw nurses stepping up and advocating for the needs of their patients, their families, their community, and their colleagues. I saw nurses protest when science was ignored. And I saw nurses making the incredibly valiant choice to volunteer to work in highly impacted areas. I saw nurses finding creative ways to connect dying patients with their families, and in fact, to be the family so that no one dies alone. It has been tough and it's been heartrending, but I have never been prouder to be a nurse. And I believe that the world now understands more clearly and more deeply than it ever has how valuable nursing is to health and survival. For nurses all over all over the world, the year 2020 started on a positive note. Not only was it the 200th birthday of Florence Nightingale, the founder of modern nursing, but the World Health Organization designated 2020 to be the year of the nurse and midwife in recognition of nursing's important contributions to healthcare. Just a few days into this celebratory year, we saw the beginnings of a global pandemic that would be unlike anything we had faced before. As the pandemic quickly expanded, we kept two simple principles in mind at the University of Texas at Austin, as we grappled daily with new developments related to the COVID-19 virus. Our first priority was the health and safety of our students, staff, and faculty. And our second priority was to support our students in continuing their educational journey. In what seemed to happen almost overnight, we made decisions to move instruction almost entirely online in the spring of 2020. Graduates, you were all part of a historic moment on March 30th, 2020, the first day our university went all online. That first day, the UT Austin community generated 5.2 million meeting minutes in Zoom with more than 157,000 participants. And I can only imagine the millions and millions of minutes that we've all subsequently spent in these virtual classes and meetings and graduations. You were all part of these historic changes and more. While most students at the University of Texas at Austin spent much of this fall semester online, most of our nursing students were coming to classes and skills labs and clinicals in person. You had to adjust to a building with new restrictions and rules, take extra time to properly don and doff your PPE, and find ways to connect with each other and your faculty while socially distanced. When we were spending hours and hours and hours preparing and planning for this fall semester over the summer, I knew at the end we had done everything we could to mitigate risk. But honestly, We weren't sure if it would work. It all depended on you. And you made it work. Thanks to you, we did not see the outbreaks seen on other college campuses, and you all embraced the professional duty to take care of yourselves and others. I know it has not been easy, but it has been worth it. There have been so many hard choices and changes for all of you, and our path was most assuredly different than the one we had carefully planned just a year ago. But the goal was the same, to see all of you graduate today. And congratulations, you did it. I mentioned that it was the 200th birthday of Florence Nightingale, and I admit that she has been an inspiration to me during these difficult times. In fact, modern nursing was born in the crucible of the Crimean War in 1854. When Florence Nightingale arrived in the Crimea to offer assistance, she became firsthand witness to horrific conditions. Thousands of wounded soldiers with virtually no care. 10 times more soldiers died from typhus, typhoid, cholera, and dysentery than from battle wounds. And in 1854, they knew about as much about cholera and typhus as we knew about the novel coronavirus in January 2020. Perhaps Florence and her band of 38 nurses were the epitome of the nursing shortages we see today. But Florence did not run away from the challenge. She ran to it. She disinfected the hospital, secured supplies, focused on providing nutrition and sanitation to her patients. During 9 months, with attention to the critical aspects of the person and the environment, she brought the mortality rate of the wounded from 42% to 2%, levels that were unheard of at that time. And all of that was due to nursing care and leadership. Maybe this was the first quality improvement project in nursing. The germ theory was still new and controversial in 1854, but Nightingale insisted on consistent hand washing and hygiene practices, while those were still considered unnecessary by the medical and army administrators. Most importantly, not only did Florence do, she collected data, she analyzed the data and interpreted it, and wrote letters and texts and publications detailing her methods and the outcomes of those and advocating for change. Her work and her persistence advocating for her patients eventually led to the redesign of the British military health system across the world, demonstrating the power and impact of evidence-based nursing practice. Florence was the first, but definitely not the last nurse to change the world. Think about it. Florence Nightingale, a nurse, set the foundation almost 200 years ago for the way we are combating the coronavirus today. Assess the problem, find your resources, implement stringent infection control, and most importantly, advocate and put the patient first. Now, when Florence Nightingale established the first training school for professional nurses at St. Thomas Hospital in London, she initiated another tradition that lives on today. The nursing pin that was awarded to nurses as they completed their initial professional training program. Nurses wore their pin as recognition of their education and training, as well as their service to society during times of great need, times like war and pandemics. As more schools of nursing were established, each school designed and awarded a customized pin. Later this morning, all graduating BSN students will receive the custom pin of the University of Texas at Austin, engraved with this historic year of 2020. Our UT Austin School of Nursing pin, which I am wearing today, and you have seen inlaid in the terrazzo floor of our new lobby, is like many pins in that it incorporates the history and symbols unique to the program. On our pin, you will see it incorporates the 5-point Texas star that is seen on the seal of the great state of Texas, as well as the shield from the University of Texas at Austin academic seal. Under the University of Texas, you can see, if you have good eyes, a Latin phrase, quo ducat officium, Now, I wondered what these words meant, and I finally asked my younger brother, who's a professor of Latin and Greek, and he translated the meaning of this phrase for me in modern English as wherever duty leads. Wherever duty leads seems especially meaningful as we witness the heroic actions of nurses around the country today. Nurse clinicians who are working long hours in very difficult situations, often with shortages of equipment and supplies, lack of childcare, and great risk to themselves. Nurse researchers who are building new knowledge to facilitate better outcomes in the face of such a debilitating disease. And nurse educators who are writing entire courses in a matter of days to support their students. I hope you will wear your pin proudly over your career and always strive to follow the motto, quo ducat officium, wherever duty leads. And now I would like to present to you the graduating class of fall 2020, led by our convocation marshal, Dr. Janice Hernandez. We will now have congratulatory remarks live from a representative of the graduating graduate students and the graduating undergraduate students. Rachel Nicole Reprogel, a graduating Bachelor's of Science in Nursing student, will speak first on behalf of the undergraduate students.
Class of 2020, students, family, friends, and faculty. My name is Rachel Reprogel, and I would like to start by saying how much of an honor it is to be standing amongst you today. 2020 graduates, today we celebrate undergraduate and graduate students as we reach a pivotal stage in our education and career. The road was tough, but it definitely made us all stronger. I know we didn't imagine graduating during the global pandemic, but just like everything else in nursing, we roll with the punches, readjust, and only cry once. We all know our programs were hard and we were thrown many curveballs. For the sake of self-care, we should take at least a brief moment to commend ourselves for continuing our nursing education. As we enter the workforce as graduate nurses, nurse practitioners, nurse researchers, nurse educators, and administrators, we know we will excel in all that we do because we worked hard to obtain our degree from the School of Nursing at the University of Texas at Austin. We all have different paths as to how we ended up here today at the University of Texas at Austin. And for my Aggie parents in the crowd listening, please close your ears, at the best university in the state of Texas. UT is great because of its many different sites. The Greenbelt, Barton Springs, the city skyline, 6th Street on a Thursday night. Similarly, the School of Nursing is great because of its many sites. The new patio with the cute little turtle statues, the simulation lab, everyone's smiling faces at 6:30 in the morning. However, the best part about this university isn't just the great sites, it is the people. I couldn't be more grateful for the invitation to share some stories of our journey to friends and family and some of the wisdom we picked up during our time on the 40 acres. Long and far ago, we gathered with our family and friends and received our white coats. As we put on the polyester blend, one-size-fits-all gowns, I don't think any of us truly knew what we were getting ourselves into. We didn't know that the 8 a.m. health assessment lectures would help us facilitate care for our older gentlemen with COPD senior year while working to achieve correct perfusion. We didn't know faculty's dashing speeches with lifelike reenactments and miscellaneous noises would help us recall vital information during clinical. We didn't realize that the tiny humans we got to work with during pediatrics clinical would serve as a perpetual reminder of the bigger picture of our work. We didn't know that countless hours in the skills lab would help provide IV access to a patient needing rapid fluid replacement during a code. And to top it all off, we didn't know we'd be doing all this amidst a global pandemic in our last year of school. We are all here today because we made a choice. We were all once little children who dreamed of being an astronaut or a zookeeper. But as time went on and experience shaped us, we made a conscious choice to become nurses. Nursing is weird because it is truly one of those things that is hard to grip from an outside perspective. It's fairly easy to answer the question of, well, what do nurses do? But that never really accounts for the hidden elements. Nursing is unique because nurses have to both be and do. The do consists of tasks such as titrating drips, starting IVs, emptying bedpans. The unique thing about nursing is the be aspect. As many of us know, nursing is a profession with a job description that extends beyond just our physical skills. And everyone always says that nurses must wear many different hats. When we enrolled in nursing, no one told us the hardest parts of nursing weren't always the exams, research papers, practicum, or quizzes. The hardest part of nursing is handling the most difficult of situations with tact and compassion. It was learning time management and sacrifice to not only do our job, but to do it well. It's putting our emotional and physical needs to the side to make priority of someone else's. Nursing challenges all who enter, which is probably why nursing school is the way that it is. We would like to thank students, family, faculty, and staff. Students, you give the School of Nursing life and shape each of your peers' experiences. I can honestly say throughout my time at the School of Nursing, my peers have proven to be some of the most diligent, kind, and altruistic human beings I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. Every day, I am encouraged and inspired by you all. This school has served as a second family as we all endured trials and tribulation. We grew together during several long clinical days and spending hours on end studying for tests, all while managing jobs and families of our own. In nursing school, you learn to realize your love language is those who remember to bring you a coffee before your 8 a.m. simulation lab. To our loved ones, thank you for being there. Thank you for your support. The path was not easy, but with you behind us, it was even more possible. Faculty and staff, you give the School of Nursing its grit. You have each chosen to share your stories and wisdom to instill values into other people. We would not be here without you and cannot thank you enough for every experience granted to us. You pushed us to where we are today and have served as inspiration along the way. I would like to share with you one of my biggest inspirations in nursing. When I enrolled in my first ever skills lab, I had no idea what to expect. On the first day, I was greeted by someone who stands at around 5 foot on a good day, but carries the personality of someone who is about 6'8". This was my instructor for 3 years. This faculty was not only phenomenal in their work, being a West Point graduate, a veteran, former helicopter pilot, and ER nurse. They were phenomenal at teaching and sharing that passion. They taught me one of the greatest lessons I have received out of nursing school: the power one person holds. They have touched countless of patients' lives and even went to New York to work at the peak of the pandemic. But this comes as no surprise because, as we all know, she runs towards fire. She has inspired me in ways I cannot put into words and has pushed me to be a better future nurse. Her compassion exudes in everything she does, from her jokes to her mini stories and to her speeches that encompass tough love. They taught me the value of hard work and the power of my voice. She is a firecracker and is not afraid to speak up and advocate for patients. I think these qualities and several others serve as an ongoing example of what nurses can be and is indicative of the nursing faculty at UT. We have all been told the struggles of being a nurse. Whether a new nurse or 20-year veteran, nursing is anything short of an easy profession. As many of us know, we sacrifice things like going to the bathroom for 12 hours so others are able to. We care for others as our own, all while dodging countless bodily fluids. We have experienced many firsts throughout our time. First IV start, first correct Foley catheter placement, first patient fall. We are about to be greeted by many other firsts. I know as well as y'all do that nursing school teaches fundamental concepts and skills, but the resilience needed is something that takes time and every student has grown to have. It takes a special kind of person to become a nurse and an even more special person to become a nurse in the midst of a global pandemic. Although the road ahead is scary, we encourage everyone to keep the many anecdotes of nursing school and friends made close to heart. We all have a special and unique story that brought them to this field, and we should use those stories to keep our passion alive as we enter the next step. As we embark on this next chapter, we'll experience many changes. The one thing that without a doubt will remain constant is our resolve. Remember to take time for us, respect our personal and professional boundaries and barriers, speak up when we don't agree, travel, eat great food, and live life to the fullest. This year has served as a reminder of just how fragile life is and how much work there is to be done. Take care of yourself and never stop. Never stop learning, never stop loving, never stop trying. I think this university has a little saying or something that goes like, what starts here changes the world. What starts at the School of Nursing changes our lives, our future lives, our patients' lives, and their loved ones' lives. Never stop working towards being that change. Our compassion and competency is our greatest strength and will guide us to places we never thought we would be. As Dr. Seuss, the children's book author, would say, to the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. Congratulations to the class of 2020.
Thank you, Rachel. Now, Scylla Parkinson, a graduating Master's of Science in Nursing student, will speak on behalf of the graduate students.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, faculty and students, for allowing me to speak today. My name is Scylla, and I am the graduate student speaker for the fall 2020 class. I come from parents who were both proud Longhorns, but I myself went to the Air Force Academy for undergrad. I know. Being from Austin, I just about bled burnt orange. So it was tough to decide where to go to school. And although I never thought I'd actually go back to school, It was a long-standing dream of mine to attend UT. I appreciate your attention for the next 40 minutes. We'll have breakout rooms soon and you can submit questions via the chat. So let's get started. Just kidding. I'll only take a few minutes of your time. First, I want to acknowledge that some of us may be feeling a sense of loss because we are graduating during a pandemic. I feel that loss too, and I am grateful technology can help bring us together. Of course, maybe you have some wins as well. For example, I'm wearing flip-flops instead of high heels, which feels great. Okay, moving on. A mentor of mine recently told me that in all his days as a paramedic, the most helpful thing he could do for someone as they rode in the back of an ambulance to the hospital was to sit with them in the back and hold their hand. Trauma surgeons don't necessarily like to hear that, but we nurses know the power of this statement. Now, I'm no wildly accomplished professional yet, but like I said, I have lived some life. My mentor's statement about holding someone's hand has proven true time and again. Yes, at this time, we need to hold our patient's hands safely while wearing full PPE or only virtually these days. And maybe we hold their hand with one hand while the other hand titrates critical drips, listens for bowel sounds, and deftly answers the 14 calls from other patients and interprofessional team members while our brains are navigating every possible worst case scenario while calling upon the pathophysiology and evidence-based practices we know to tackle all these things. But we still hold space for the mental and emotional journey that our patients experience while their physical bodies go through illness and wellness. That's the superpower of nurses, and especially of Longhorn nurses. What starts here changes the world. We have heard our proud UT motto hundreds of times, most likely. We've seen it written and sloganed. We've seen it enacted through our faculty and alumni who have wowed us with their consolidation of seemingly thousands of years of learning and reading into their instruction. We have been preparing for our emergence and we are ready, but we will not leave the mindset of our motto behind. The UT motto focuses on learning as changing the world, impacting those around us. But I'd like to turn your focus inward. There's a quote from the 1999 movie, The Matrix, that has stood out to me. If you don't know this movie, it's about characters who discover that the world around them is a dreamlike fabricated image or matrix in which they take part, but cannot realize their full potential because they are purposely kept asleep. Sci-fi stuff. Morpheus is a rebel who knows the truth and is played by Lawrence Fishburne. Neo is a hacker who is recruited to the rebel or awake side and is played by Keanu Reeves. The quote that came to mind for today is from Morpheus to Neo. He says, "I'm trying to free your mind, Neo, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it." Here we are, by the grace of our faculty and a lot of caffeine, at the doorstep of our careers. It's now that some hard work begins, or at least continues, because our here is about to shift. As we bring our knowledge into the wider world, how will we put our ever-expanding knowledge into context? How will we embrace the discomfort of change? Instead of focusing on here being UT, our here is now ourselves, because what starts here changes the world. I perform COVID testing a lot at my job as a registered nurse in an urgent care clinic. We call it swabbing someone for COVID, and of course I wear full PPE to do it. Sometimes I have to swab kids and many are too young to talk. Even with smaller, more flexible swabs, I found that many children were often unable to recover quickly from being swabbed, even using all my normal kid-friendly tactics. As I was walking to the parking lot one day where we perform most of our testing, swabs in hand, I caught my reflection in the window. I looked like everyone else in healthcare right now, an expressionless hazmat suit. I couldn't see it in the hustle of providing care without pause. It took looking at my reflection to see where things were going wrong before I even considered different resources like smaller swabs. With the next child, I introduced myself and said, "Do I look like I'm from space?" With a warm smile from the child, I knew we were in business. Still not pleasant business, but better. Just like looking at our physical reflection, it's our responsibility to practice mental reflection. We have to choose introspection and continuous learning. We must also welcome continuous unlearning of systems of oppression and unintentional bias. As difficult as knowledge acquisition is, unlearning stories that have been told to us our entire lives can be even harder, but we must. This unlearning is key to humanity and especially to sustainable, equitable healthcare. I am grateful to UT and the School of Nursing for allowing brave space in which to further explore this unlearning. James Baldwin was an insightful American writer and activist who articulated the need for and the power of insight, as well as the importance of contextualizing it in our external communities. His words have stood the test of time and are often quoted in these necessarily tumultuous times. Mr. Baldwin said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." We have been poised to face the world and all its challenges. Let's take this moment to ensure we are also poised to face ourselves. Now, as I reviewed inspirational commencement speeches in preparation for our convocation today, I found a common message in many of them. From author and professor Toni Morrison to Apple founder Steve Jobs, and from actor Denzel Washington to Admiral retired William McRaven, that message was that we will fail. Uplifting, I know. I mean, 2020, y'all. But we will. Sometimes small and sometimes big. We all know this, but when it really happens, it can feel disheartening, like a threat to our very worth. What I gathered from these distinguished individuals is that it's key to remember that the kind of defeat we're talking about here is only in the mind, and we will get back up again. That's not a question. We have shown our resilience now more than ever. Resilience is often defined as the ability to get back up again after one of these failures or to bounce back. The question I've been asking myself in trying to truly build my own resilience is, do I want to bounce back? Because what I really want is to bounce forward. I want to take on new, better, stronger, but more open structure, even if it's unfamiliar. Right now, we have a situation where our nation seems unbalanced, just a little wobbly. Even our values may be challenged. This is uncomfortable. But being unbalanced is also the perfect chance to follow some sage advice from Admiral McRaven to fall forward, to fail. And when we get back up, be a little further down the road because we treated our failure as a golden opportunity to learn and grow. We have a rare opportunity to influence which way things tip when they settle again. Does that mean we won't need help or breaks? Of course not. Yet another important part of resilience includes self-care. We hear this call a lot right now to take some time for self-care. On my great days, lots of water, solid exercise, nutritious food, and a connection with friends and family set my soul at ease. Sometimes we are stretched thin beyond measure. In those times, my self-care is a deep breath or 3 to remain mindful and be fully present wherever I am. I invite you to practice self-care in a way that works for you, not only because it feels fantastic, but also because it allows you the strength to build your resiliency. And we need you. Every single Longhorn here is vital to the success of healthcare and humanity. I've learned another lesson that has also been echoed by others during speeches. All that resilience we need is made possible through unity. We are distinct and wonderfully different individuals. We should celebrate this loudly and proudly. We are also all nurses in this together. Anything that divides us is a distraction from our greater purpose. When we are unified, we are stronger. And my time at UT School of Nursing has shown me that we are indeed unified. Whether it's collaborating on research or volunteering to give flu shots, a group of nurses can move mountains. This is what leads to good patient outcomes and transformative healthcare. With active introspection and unity, we can't help but change the world. None of us are looking for glory, but when we roll in as a unified front, the world will know this burnt orange wave has entered the arena. What starts here, and importantly, here, changes the world. I'm excited and honored to graduate alongside you and to get going. Thank you. Hook 'em horns.
Thank you, Scylla. At this time, we will recognize individually the candidates for graduation. Assisting in the recognition of degree candidates are Dr. Gail Timmerman, our Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, Dr. Anna Todd, the Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Programs, and Dr. Lee Goldstein and Dr. Sharon Carter will instruct the students and families and friends as they receive their University of Texas at Austin School of Nursing pin. Dr. Timmerman will now present by name the graduates who have completed their doctoral study in nursing and those who have completed their study towards the Master of Science in Nursing. She will also offer some guidance to families, friends, and guests as they hood their graduate students.
We will now recognize the candidates for both the Doctor of Philosophy and the Master of Science nursing degrees. Graduate When your name is called, turn on your video and then don your hood. The graduate regalia's hood is worn around the neck and drapes over the shoulders to cover the back. We will first recognize the Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing recipients. Kimberly Lewis. Jason Thomas Yediaris. Now we will recognize our Master of Science in Nursing degree recipients. Anastasia Adams. Martha Ann Brown. Catherine Marie Clark. Zoe Coles. Aster Dyer. Karen Geiger. Brianna Henderson. Shelby Chinot Ipe. Mary Jackson. Brenda Light. Brian Reed Ludicky. Mark Moreno. Scylla Parkinson. Mark Perry. Raul Reddy. Emily Schatz. Sylvia Stover. Amy Sai. Serenia Elena Walupale. Congratulations, graduates.
We will now recognize the candidates for the Bachelor of Science in Nursing.
At this time, each graduate will be pinned by a loved one with the custom pin of the University of Texas at Austin School of Nursing.
Laura Aguilar, Colin Barnett. Taylor Barroso. Danielle Bustamante. Melissa Cardinal. Ashley Carter. Jimin Chun. Laura Araceli Sid. Andrea Feliciano Cruz. Marielle Faith Ferrer. Chinar Gandhi. Miranda Garza. Kyle Gerke. Savannah Hope Gillespie. Leilani Givens. Emily Gonzalez. Ana Gonzalez Gaitan. Audra Grace Gramling. Madeline Gregory. Tyler Hayes. Tressa Hudgens. Caitlin Quinn. Malena Yanni. Pamela Claudia Jimenez. Kadeja Karamali. Abigail Kursbergen. Joyce Hajun Kim. Noelle Hannah Kim. Maria Dimitra Kutravelis. Corley Lovett. Morgan Mailer. Marissa Melton. Meg Meneses. Mackenzie Parrish Musket. Jason Wynn. Julianne May Wynn. Erica Nicolini. Hannah Ong. Cassidy Pasudas. Lindsay Pikulinski. Taylor Purtle. Melanie Quintanilla. Rachel Nicole Reprogel. Kayla Soares Rodriguez. Natalie Rodriguez. Sarah Kate Rosenberg. Jasmine Salas. Bryn Thompson. Lexi DeLon Tiroff. Kristen Bryn Trammell. Joshua Ugot. Kenya Valadez. Pia Valdecanas. Kyle Michael Villanueva. Kelsey Lynn Briscoe Wallace. Colin Matthew Wang. Kia Shanae Williams. Courtney Wisniewski. Alex Wong.
Dear graduates, let this pen be a reminder of your commitment to heal the world and go where duty calls. Hook 'em.
Congratulations to each and every graduate of the class of December 2020. You are all special, and we will never forget you or this virtual convocation. It was great seeing you and your family and friends, and lots of happy smiles on screen, and a few pets too. And you couldn't see us, but we were all smiling back at you. and I can tell there will be some well-deserved celebrations today. Each of you who are graduating today chose to pursue your education in nursing because you knew that you wanted to make a difference in the world. And you could have never imagined just a year ago how much this world would need you. I am so happy, as I am very sure your families and friends are, to see you have made it this far. You have adapted and persevered through classes, exams, hours of clinical experiences, papers, skills labs, and most recently, Zoom classes. And now you are ready to launch into your careers, your life, your new positions, and we are eager to find out one day just how far you've gone and what you will accomplish. Graduates, we are very proud of your achievements and accomplishments to date. We know that throughout your career in nursing, you will excel with integrity and the spirit that nothing is impossible. After all, you did graduate in 2020. You will serve as leaders in nursing in Texas and beyond, and the quality of nursing and healthcare will be enhanced as you use your leadership, your critical thinking, and clinical judgment skills to serve society by promoting the comfort, dignity, and health of those you serve. Today, you join a strong core of more than 8,000 alumni from the University of Texas at Austin School of Nursing that have made significant contributions to healthcare and research in their communities, around the nation, and around the world. There are graduates of this School of Nursing making positive contributions to health and healthcare in every state, in every branch of the military, and in 24 foreign countries. And congratulations to your friends and families who now have their very own nurse to turn to for help and guidance in health and illness. I know you join me in thanking them for all of their support that helped you reach your goal today. We are so glad that you could join us today for this important celebration. We will conclude with 2 short videos. The first is a video of congratulatory messages from faculty and students. And the second video that I hope you will stay online for is a very special video entitled, "Who Else But You?" This original song and video were created last spring by one of our recent PhD alumni, Dr. Carolyn Phillips. The song is based on interviews with graduating students and faculty and recognizes the very special challenges you have faced. The video has been updated with pictures submitted by the graduating class of December 2020. So enjoy the videos, and remember, graduates, we are counting on you to change the world. I know you can. Congratulations, and hook 'em.
Hi everybody, I am so proud of each and every one of you. Now go out there and change the world. Hook 'em!
Hi seniors, congratulations! You have worked so hard to get to this point and you are so deserving of everything that's to come. It has been my pleasure working with you over the last few years and it's time to go start your life. So while we will miss you here at the nursing school, I hope you keep in touch. Congratulations.
Not even a pandemic got in your way. Good luck and congratulations.
Greetings, class of 2020. I'm Dr. Gail Timmerman. I'm your Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. I want to congratulate you on your graduation. and want to welcome you as one of our illustrious alumni.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Janice Hernandez. It has been a privilege to have had the opportunity to educate you through your academic nursing journey. May you find the nursing path as fulfilling and rewarding in your life as I have in mine. Congratulations, God bless, be safe, change the world, and hook 'em horns.
Hi graduating seniors. I'm so proud of all of you, and so is Mr. Darcy. I know that you're going to go out and change the world in wonderful ways.
Congratulations! I know you're going to do amazing things as you go out there and change the world. Hook 'em horns.
Congratulations, School of Nursing Class of 2020. You powered through the pandemic to earn your degree from the University of Texas at Austin. Hook 'em horns.
Congratulations, nursing graduates, Class of December 2020. I'm so proud of you for reaching your goals.
I had the pleasure of working with many of you in your alternate entry foundation year and MSN core courses. I would like to congratulate all of the 2020 graduates for completing your degree in this extraordinarily unusual time. Congratulations and good luck in your future nursing career. Hook 'em.
Hello, Fall 2020 graduates. I'm so proud of you. You've had a lot of difficulties, stress, and strain along the way, but you persevered and you are graduating. How fun is that? I'm so proud of you, as I mentioned before, and now you're ready to go out and grab the world by the tail. Congratulations again.
I just wanted to congratulate the graduating class and tell you how proud I am of you. I knew when y'all came in as J1s that you were going to be successful, and you have been. And I assume that you're going to continue to be successful. I hope that you'll keep us posted on all your endeavors and all the wonderful things that you're going to do in your life. Way to go.
Hello, Class of 2020, and congratulations on this momentous achievement. Now get out there, the world needs you. Hook 'em.
We need you at this unprecedented time in our history, and I know from working particularly with our BSN graduates that you are all an amazing addition to our profession, and we're so honored to call you colleagues and friends. So congratulations on your amazing accomplishment. And from me and your favorite public health nursing kitty, Diego, congratulations, and go out there and change the world. Hook 'em horns.
Congratulations.
Dear nursing graduates of the University of Texas at Austin School of Nursing, you are graduates of the year 2020, which is such a historic year. I wish you the heartiest congratulations and the best wishes for a meaningful career. Hook 'em.
Congratulations, Fall 2020. What a year. You should be so proud of yourselves. We're very proud of you and looking forward to working with you as the next generation of nurses. I'd love to hear from you. Be well and hook 'em horns.
Congratulations to all of our graduates, but especially to our AE MSN graduates. I know the road was long, but I am so proud of all of you and am honored to be a part of your journey. Now go out and change the world and hook 'em.
Dear students, now you are ready to embark in a new journey when you become the nurse you will always dream of. It is now your turn to give back to your community and fulfill your call and your duty. May God bless you and keep you as you open the doors to go off campus and change the world. Congratulations.
We did it! Thank you to all the family and friends and faculty that have supported us through this journey. I'm so proud of everything that we've accomplished, and I can't wait to see how we make this world a better place. Hook 'em!
Congratulations, Class of Fall 2020. We are so proud to share in the excitement of your graduation as you celebrate your achievements and the journey ahead. You've made it. We can't wait to see how you change the world tomorrow. Hook 'em horns.
Hey y'all, I just wanted to express how incredibly thankful I am for everyone at the School of Nursing for truly preparing us for our next journey in life, and for always being surrounded by the brightest, best, and most motivating future nurses out there, and for the unconditional support from my family and friends. Hook 'em.
Hi,
Hi, this is Professor Q, and I'm here to wish you guys congratulations. So excited, so proud of you all. I know that you guys are going to go out and change the world and do great, great things. And to that I say, hook 'em. Congratulations.
Bye!
There's a shadow where a capstone should have been, a missing piece where doubt comes creeping in. It's so hard letting go, with no goodbye at the end. Take a moment, take a breath. Trust your team, try your best. Remember what you've trained to do. There's power in the purpose guiding you. Hard days are gonna come, but who's gonna step up? Who's gonna speak up? Who's gonna care if not for you? Who's gonna see us? Who's gonna hold us? Who else can lead us but you? Who else but you? You're the front line and our last defense. You've proved yourself. You've passed the test. You adapt and overcome with grace and finesse. Take a moment, take a breath. Trust your team, try your best. Remember what you've trained to do. There's power in the purpose guiding you. Hard days are gonna come, but who's gonna step up? Who's gonna speak up? Who's gonna care if not for you? Who's gonna see us? Who's gonna hold us? Who else can lead us but you? Who else but you? Your depth of care draws from the deepest well. Find what fills you up. Take a moment, take a breath. Trust your team, try your best. Remember what you've trained to do. There's power in the purpose guiding you. Hard days are gonna come, but who's gonna step up? Who's gonna speak up? Who's gonna care if not for you? Who's gonna see us? Who's gonna hold us? Who else can lead us but you? Who else but you? There's a window where a capstone should have been, an open space where light comes shining in.